I'm Melissa Shanahan, and this is the Velocity Work Podcast, episode number 33. This podcast is for attorneys who are running their own firms. We explore tactics, tools, and stories related to pushing past simply lawyering well and into building a successful firm. Working in your firm and working on your business are two very different things. This podcast focuses on the latter. Hello, friends. Welcome to this week's episode. How are you all doing with that quarantine life? Some people are loving this. It's like what they kind of want to do anyway. They just want to be a hermit at home. And some people are going absolutely crazy having to stay in and stay quarantined. Whatever side of the fence you're on, I hope you're healthy and happy and safe. And today we're going to talk about something that has to do with this crazy phase that we're in as not just a nation, but the world. With coronavirus really starting to not even have its peak yet in the US anyway, but it's really time for us to sort of pull back a little bit. And some of us are really forced to do that more than others, depending on your scenario, your set of circumstances. And remember, something I talked about last week and that I always talk about with people is that your set of circumstances do not determine how you feel inside, and they don't determine your results. What your perspective is and what you're thinking about your circumstances will set you up for whatever is coming your way. Now, there are certain things we can control and there's certain things we can't control, and you want to focus on what you can control. Well, today's episode is titled, Come Out of This Phase Stronger, Not Weak. I'm listening to a lot of podcasts right now. I'm reading, and I'm also doing a lot more reflecting. And what keeps coming up for me and what keeps sounding more true than anything else in this time is this idea that we can come out, we get to decide, we can come out of this phase stronger, or we can get spit out of this phase whenever sort of the world starts to come back to normal, come back to life. We can get spit out of this phase in a very weak state. We get to decide that. We don't get to control everything that happens in this phase, but we do get to decide if we come out stronger or if we come out weak. So taking this idea and really applying it to your own life, there's a few things I want to say. When I walk through today's lesson episode, I'm going to do it first from a personal perspective, a life perspective, and then I'm going to ask the questions so that you can think of things from a perspective about your firm, because both are worth considering right now in terms of coming out stronger or getting spit out weak. So the first thing you need to do, period, is you need to decide that you are going to come out stronger. Because if you don't make that decision, you're probably you're going to be at the whim of things much more than you would have had you decided to come out stronger. Deliberately think that way and think that to yourself. I am going to come out stronger on the other side of this. Once you've made that decision, then the next thing that makes sense to do is to really visualize yourself. And I want you to think about your personal life for a moment. So this means your personal life and your internal state, your mind, your mental health, all of that, the internal stuff, and then your personal life. I want you to think about this, and I want you to visualize yourself at the point in time where the world is beginning to act more normal, where everybody's coming out into the world again, and we are engaging in similar ways that we were used to before this phase hit. Like when all that starts to happen, in what ways do you want to be stronger? What ways do you want to be sharper at that time? What do you want to have dialed in when it's time to really come out of our shells and really get back to quote unquote normal, whatever that is, when it's time for that? What do you visualize for yourself? What do you want to have dialed in? What do you want to be sharper at? What do you want to be stronger in? So give that some thought. And if you're listening to this, there may be something that comes to your mind, but I'm telling you, if you sit with this question for even 60 seconds, something better will come to your mind. So don't just listen to this and then go on your merry way. I would highly recommend that after you listen to this, or pause it now. I want you to sit and I want you to actually visualize yourself coming out of this stronger. What is stronger about you? What is sharper about you? And what do you have dialed in? Now, exactly the same way, I want you to think about this for your firm on a separate exercise. So it could be the next 60 seconds that you spend. I want you to think about and visualize your firm on the other side of this phase that we're in. How do you want your firm to be stronger? How do you want your firm to be sharper? How do you want your firm to be more dialed in? And I want you to sit with that question and see what comes up. Now, here's my second point that I have to make is that what you'll notice is probably the case, and what I would highly recommend is that you get back to the basics. So when I ask you that question about whether it's in your personal life or your firm, what do you want to be stronger? What do you want to be sharper? What do you want to have dialed in? If there is something new that pops into your mind, like a shiny object that pops into your mind, I would recommend that you question that and that you consider for a second that this is a very useful time to get back to the basics, get back to the core of things. There is a quote by Craig Ballantyne. He said, "If you want a masterpiece, you have to master the pieces." So my question to you is, when you're thinking about this phase, what can you master? And usually when you're mastering something, it's something that is already put into place, but you're going to go back and refine it. You're going to refine your skills. You're going to refine your mindset. You're going to refine how you show up. You're going to refine the processes that are in place. What are you going to master so that you come out the other side stronger? When you think about your personal life, pick something. Maybe it's a relationship and how you show up for it. Maybe it's your physical space, your home, the place you have to be in every day. Maybe it's your mindset. Maybe it's just that. You're going to focus on how you think about things, how you show up for things. How you show up for one thing is how you show up for everything. So maybe it's just focusing on improving and up-leveling your operating system. But I hope you can see that really getting back to the basics, the foundation, the core of things, and working to master something, like pick something and go for it. Don't try to do 10 things. Don't shoot for even 3 things. One thing. Pick one thing that you're going to master, that you're going to come out on the other side and without a shadow of a doubt be able to say, I am stronger because of the opportunity that this phase gave me. The thing about core foundational basics that I'm referring to is that those are the things that beget more awesomeness. Like everything stems from the core and the foundation. That's why I'm recommending that instead of turning your head towards this shiny object, this new thing, maybe pull back a little bit and get your foundation more rock solid than it already is. How can you do that? How can you set yourself up to be stronger? Because if you do work on the foundational stuff, I mean, it's the foundation, right? If you have a better, stronger foundation, you have a better, stronger foundation for which to build on, build the new things on. And I'm telling you, this is not a time for new shiny object syndrome, because usually shiny objects are distracting from what is the most important things. And it also usually requires resources. And this is a time to just not reserve resources from a scarcity mindset or from a place of scarcity, but reserve resources, meaning this is a time to pull in and master something. So what can you do? What stands out to you when you ask yourself that about your personal life? When you come out of this phase stronger, how are you stronger? What needs attention? What needs your focus so that you can really master something? And then, okay, so now alternatively, let's look at it from the firm's perspective. You own a firm and it's its own entity as well. So yes, we've asked for you because you are the person who is running it. The firm is your baby. So you need to be on your best game. You need to be mastering things for yourself. Your foundation, your core needs to be strong. And so it's important to ask those questions from a personal perspective. But then also your firm and the business needs those questions asked as well. So if you can imagine, if your firm comes out of this phase stronger and not spit out in a weak state, what needs to be sharpened? What needs the attention? What is going to be stronger about your firm? And again, think back to the basics. Do not pick a new marketing program that, we're going to be stronger because I have this new marketing program ready to roll. Maybe you're the only one that can know what's right and what's true for yourself. But I'm telling you, this is the time to get back to the basics. And so when you imagine that for your firm, what stands out? What comes to mind that would be great to really get mastered during this time so that you come out stronger on the other side? Is it your physical space, just like I mentioned with the home? Is it the physical space of the office? Or if you're virtual, still there's some physicality to your business. Maybe it's something to do with that. Maybe it's your intake process. Maybe it's your client experience, your customer service side of the business. Maybe that needs to be dialed in. Maybe it's getting your financials organized, totally organized from top to bottom. So there's no gray areas and no question marks. Maybe it's your tracking. There's things that you know are important to track for your business. And so getting those KPIs organized in a way where you can keep your finger on the pulse of what is going on. It doesn't matter what it is. It just matters that when you sit still with this question, there's going to be something that nags at you, that pulls at you, that feels like truth. And the reason I'm saying feels like truth is because a lot of the quick starts out there, especially if you know Colby, quick starts will sit with this question and the immediate thing that comes up, and quick starts will run with the immediate thing that comes up. Typically, the immediate thing that comes up is the shiny object, is the new thing, is the thing that they should be spending money on and spending time and energy and resources on this brand new thing to bring in. It sort of masks itself that you think where it's going to make your business better. And I'm not saying it won't, but I challenge you to sit a little longer with that question and ask yourself, from the foundation of my business, from the core of my business, what needs to be stronger? What needs to be mastered? Or that thing that if I do master it for my firm, it's going to mean that we come out stronger on the other side. Going back to Craig Ballantyne's quote, if you want a masterpiece, you have to master the pieces. So if you want your life and your firm to be a masterpiece, now is a perfect opportunity to master a piece or two. I hope this episode has given you some things to think about. It's a shorter episode, but there's not much more to say. What I've presented in this episode, if you do sit down and take a few minutes to ask yourself this question and get quiet and see what comes up, it will go a long way. It will go a long way. Don't miss this opportunity. If you miss this opportunity, you're going to come out on the other side in a weak state, a weakened state. If you take this opportunity to ask yourself these questions, everything is not going to go like rainbows and unicorns during this phase. You can't control a lot of what's going on right now, but you absolutely can control certain aspects. And this is one of them. This is an opportunity for you. So don't miss it. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Hi guys, it's me again. Thanks so much for listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed it, and I hope you did, please subscribe so that you get real-time updates whenever we drop a new episode. If you want to continue to hang out with us, come on over to our website and check out how we work with clients. It's our signature 3-phase approach that we use with law firms to achieve growth on their own terms. Head to velocitywork.com/begin for information about those 3 phases and how you might get started if you'd like. Again, that's velocitywork.com/begin. If there's a topic you'd like covered on a future episode, or a question you have, or someone you'd love to have interviewed on the Velocity Work podcast, go to speakpipe.com/velocitywork. Leave us a voice message there. It can be anonymous or not. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to hang out with us on social, come on over to Instagram. Our handle is velocity.work. And on Facebook, it's facebook.com/meetvelocitywork. Cheers, my friends, to real growth and a great life. Bye, guys.
Show notes from this episode can be found at velocitywork.com/podcast.